Andrew Urquhart back from Waitangi. I must say, it is one of the most beautiful places in all of Aotearoa, New Zealand, especially on a sunny day when, I don't know, 50,000 people decide to turn up. But it was the old stomping ground of John Cowan, who joins us on the program now. John, kia ora. Thanks for your time today.
Marie.
Now,
I'm glad you enjoyed my old patch.
Exactly. Now, you were the, well, not quite the vicar, you were the Baptist pastor in Pai here for a period of time, is that right?
That's right, the Bay of Islands Baptist Church. I had four little congregations,
Okay.
one out at Rafferty, right out in the edge of the Bay of Islands, one at Russell, one at Paihia, and one at Kawa, which was great because people always thought I was busy somewhere else.
That is fantastic. And hey, things have changed a little bit in Paihia now. They've got electricity. You'll be glad to know.
Yeah.
Although,
That's right. Yes.
I think the resources were a bit stretched over the last couple of days. Yeah, but hey, the old place still there, and hey, still a wonderful place to be on Waitangi Day.
It was remarkably a beautiful place to live for a few years. I used to enjoy Waitangi Day up there because you get the impression from the media, apart from Shine, that the whole thing is argy-bargy and conflict and everything. In actual fact, it's a family day where you can enjoy so much which is going on. You have to go hunting for the conflict, which is, of course, is what
the media does, yeah.
Newsworthy broadcast, but there's a lot that's positive about it,
there
including
is.
the underlying attitudes and principles.
There was some positive things there, but can I just say, I've been to a few Waitangis now. You had to go hunting for the positives.
Oh, okay.
The protest and the argy-bargy, that was more front and centre this year, something to do with some government policies. We won't get into the details, but certainly the positive, good vibes, they were there. They were just a little bit more in the background. Wow, I don't know. It was still a fantastic day.
I've just been reading about Sir Walter Raleigh,
Mm-hmm.
and who was involved in colonizing America and the attitudes that were prevalent amongst people as they colonized the Native Americans. And I just sort of thinking there's a lot of contrast between what happened back then and with our own history.
Yeah.
And I heard it put most clearly by a commentator recently who said everywhere else colonization has been associated with the subjugation or assimilation of the other people. Waitangi is an attempt anyway to do it differently, to make it a partnership. And that's how well it succeeded is up for debate, and whether it needs modification, that's up for debate. But I think that the underlying principle is wonderful.
Well, we won't get into that debate today.
Okay. All right. I'll wind down on that.
Exactly. But wanting to talk about progress, not necessarily political progress, but personal progress. As we start at the beginning of the year, am I doing a better job of being me than I was last year? Is that the way we measure things, John?
Well, at least you're measuring yourself against yourself.
Okay.
It's always depressing measuring yourself against other people and thinking, oh, yes, they're earning more, better car, better cow, straighter teeth, smoother skin. I do this cycling group, and a lot of the people in there are retired. And very typically the conversation goes, oh, what did you do before you retired? Meaning when you still had life and significance. Is it, now that you're in your dotage, you're just basically just a parasite on the rump of society hanging on there until you expire.
Yeah.
And your worth is extinguished with
Sounds
your career.
like a fun, encouraging group that you're a part of.
Oh, yeah. I don't actually put it like that to people because I tend to think that progress might be measured differently, but you can still have it regardless of where you are in life. I mean, when you're younger, it's easier. It's whether you've passed a particular academic qualification or how high the mark is on where you're measuring your height or how attractive you're becoming and then it moves into how far up the corporate ladder you're aspiring and how big your pay packet is and how big your house is. And so those things are relatively easy measures of what some people call progress. And I'd like to think that they're not very valid measures anyway. But I've been thinking about this. How do I measure my own progress? And first of all, trends are sometimes depressing. I mean, if I was to graph my income, my weight, my height, all sorts of things, not inspiring.
Yeah.
But so I tend to think now that progress is my direction that I'm heading from this moment onwards,
Okay.
from this point, my instantaneous direction at the moment. And that direction, of course, is what's called attitude. If you're an
Okay.
aviator,
Yeah.
the attitude of your plane is whether you're heading up or down or the way that it's cutting into the wind somehow. And so I suppose that's your direction, your attitude, whether it's towards something which is good or whether it's a retreat. And I think when you get older, a lot of your thinking is, like I've got a watch which has got about 7,000 functions on it. I think that, I could do a university course on just the things that this watch that came with my phone could do.
Yeah.
And so I get the impression sometimes I'm not even coping. How do I mean to make progress like this? But I'm talking about attitudes that line up um, with your persistence to be a good person,
Okay.
which is your values. Persistence in a good direction from this point will turn into a trend, by the way. So those
Okay.
trends hopefully will lift. But I'm tending to think that is your attitude towards increasing learning, increasing mastery, or is it surrender and giving up and just retreating into what you've already known, whatever is safe,
Yeah.
whatever is not going to challenge you? And I find that a terrible temptation to just retreat back into what I know, people with similar beliefs and attitudes and culture, and rather than embracing all the challenges and changes in our society. So could I challenge people to think of progress as being outward looking, being curious, moving forwards in line with your values rather than compromising them? I love meeting older people who are still progressing,
Hmm.
people that are wanting to learn, wanting to be a blessing, wanting to move towards life and health. They're far more interesting than people that just tell me what they used to be and how much they've amassed.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's my 10 cents worth for today.
Keep learning
Might only have
stuff.
been 5 cents worth, but I'll try and do better next week. I'll try and progress.
Try and progress, and hey, I suppose keep putting ourselves in that space where we're taking risks and keep trying stuff that we may or may not be any good at. John, appreciate your wisdom and advice as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us on Rhema. Now, if you found value in today's content, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel with the subscribe button. This really helps us to continue to produce more quality content for you. And hey, if you'd like to stay updated and never miss any of our future videos, ring that notification bell as well. Don't forget to follow us on our other socials, which are in the description below. And until then, stay tuned.